Why is it so hard to be a macro guy right now?
Well, the big funds have had a hard time to start with, partly because when you get to a lot of assets, you're forced mostly into the G3. And we've had very low volatility in interest rates and long-term interest rates, partly because central banks have flooded the markets with liquidity, and so there's just a ton of liquidity out there, which, keeps a bid to everything. Macro guys at their core are speculators, and so when people call macro dead, I think it's almost the time when macro guys get stopped out is probably when macro's not dead.
Could it be there's a technological reason for this as well? I mean, we have instant access to data around the world. Everybody gets the same data, and you've got algorithms and you've got bots that can process it.
So that part of the market takes out a piece of the return structure. But at its core, macro makes money when things are in trend and when speculators, it's a speculative business. And the technology piece right now is that because inflation has stayed low and because there's so much liquidity, volatility has come down. The moment that changes, macro is going to be in its heyday again.
But for the time being, is it go long market, short politics? I mean, in essence, is that the trade we're going to keep playing out?
That continues to play out solely because of the liquidity in the system. I mean, who would have thought we have now, and it's not completely true. Like, a lot of people started this year bullish the dollar, right?
And shorting 10-year.
And so bullish the dollar was kind of a bet on this new administration. And I remember the very first macro advice I ever got. My parents moved to Germany and they bought their first Mercedes. My dad was in the Army. It was a big deal in our family. It was a used station wagon, but it was still a big deal. And I remember the dollar to the Deutschmark was the highest it had ever been. And the Mercedes dealers said, we invest in Ronald Reagan. I don't know anyone around the world saying, I want to invest in Donald Trump. Not one person, foreigners. And so part of the dollar sell-off is, our politics aren't looked at so nicely.